What's up, everybody? Welcome to the week 8 edition. I'm already off to a hot start.
There you go. Great start.
Edition of the Red Beat Jets podcast. I am Greg Armstrong, joined by my main man Justin, as always. Justin, how are you doing this week?
About as good as I did last week. So not so good. 2 in a row, 2 losses in a row. It's all right.
Yeah. So week 7, Jets had a 2-touchdown lead going in the fourth quarter. Gave it up to a Matt Moore-led Miami Dolphins team. Lost on a last-second field goal. It was bad. It was, from debacle standpoint, it was worse than the Patriots game. It was, and the worst part was that 3 quarters in, this Jets team had a real chance to win and actually looked like a team that was trending in the right direction. And then it all went for nothing.
Yeah, it's the same story as it was the previous week. 14-point lead against a division rival, and we can't finish. And again, it's a lot of it, and I'm sure we're going to touch on this a lot. I'll bring it up early. Penalties are the biggest thing, and I'm sure we'll get to Buster Skrine's performance because that, oh my God, that pissed me off beyond no end. Yeah. That was ridiculous. But the penalties, the self-inflicted penalties, self-inflicted, just dumb, foolish mistakes, and it's going to happen. We're a young team, and it's expected, but at some point we need to put an end to it. And we had a lot of penalties the first few weeks, and it caught up to us finally.
Mm-hmm. And the one penalty that was kind of ridiculous was the Darren Lee roughing the passer on Jay Cutler. I honestly don't know what he could have done. 1, 2, how is that a roughing the passer when the ball never left his hand? That's a thing I don't understand, and I probably won't understand.
There's nothing he could have done because Cutler ducked down. Cutler ducks down. Lee is going for his midsection, but the only reason it's helmet to helmet is because Cutler ducks into the hit. There's absolutely nothing. Like, if I could hear a ref's explanation of what Darren Lee is supposed to do there, like, I would love to hear that. And then maybe that would make sense. Maybe the call would make sense then. But to me, he's going for the midsection. Cutler ducks down, and it's helmet to helmet. And the fact that was helmet to helmet and the Robbie Anderson one from the previous week wasn't is beyond me.
It's the officiating hasn't been the greatest this year. I mean, just look at the Giants game on Sunday, the Pollard touchdown, even that was whatever. But for 3 quarters, the Jets were in it. It seemed like they were on a fast track to win. And for the second week in a row, they can't stomp on a team's throat. And maybe it's because they don't have the talent. Maybe it's from something else. It's from play calling. That you can't win a game when you have -4 yards of offense in the fourth quarter. Those kind of penalties, this team is not talented enough to bounce back from those kind of penalties and not let it kill you. The last drive was, inexcusable. That throw by McCown. I know people have been defending. You have to throw towards the sideline. You don't throw towards the sideline when the guy's underneath the route. And if I could see that on my TV, I'm almost positive an NFL quarterback that's been in the league for as long as Josh McCown can see that. The defensive line actually played good for 3 quarters, but
they did.
When the game mattered most, there was no pass rush in the fourth quarter whatsoever. Secondary got killed once again. The first Kenny Stills catch, I was like, okay, Skrine can't play that any better. It's just a circus catch that it happens. But after that, it was just a steady decline from the secondary. Darren Lee, though, has been actually surprising guy for this team for the past couple of weeks. I know the Cleveland game, he had a rough start and then kind of put it together. New England, it was kind of more of the same. He didn't have a complete full game. I thought Darren Lee played phenomenally this game.
I think there's a lot of questions regarding the play calling and coach decision in the game. But on Darren Lee's point, I think they did an excellent job using him in ways that they haven't used him yet. Right. They used him as an edge rusher, which is great to get his speed, to get him to utilize his speed. He's an absolute liability in pass coverage. He can't pass defend for shit. Yeah. And he's still a liability on the defense, but he's shown a lot more flashes. And I think that's great. In the secondary, Claiborne played fine. He didn't really get tested as much. It's hard to grade the other corners and how they did when you had the performance that you did from Buster Skrine. I know a lot of it is on Buster Skrine. Some of it has to do with the fact that if he's been getting beat all game, how the hell is he still matched up man-to-man with Kenny Stills or whoever he's on in the fourth quarter? I don't know how that's possible. You got to get either safety help there or you have a blitz him more. Like, he's a good blitzer. That's one of his strengths, is a nickel blitzer. He's a good tackler. Whether the guy has the ball or not, he might tackle you if the ball's in the air.
Very true.
The one play where him, Adams, and May were in coverage, and the ball was still. He just jumped. I think it was on stills. Just leaped on him.
He definitely missed time to jump on it because he was in perfect coverage on that play. He totally just
he was, and then he just completely missed time to jump, jumped right into the receiver, and it was. I think I saw the numbers by him. I tried to get these down because I wanted to bring them up because it's awful. It was a perfect. This is according to Pro Football Focus. A perfect completion, or a perfect passer rating against him, 158.3. They targeted him 7 times that game. There was a completion all 7 times. He accounted for all 4 touchdowns in some way or another, whether it was a pass interference call that set it up or he actually just gave it up. And he gave up like 130 yards in the air. It's just an awful, awful performance by him. And the problem is we don't have anybody to replace him, which is why you need to mask his deficiencies with schemes. Why are you blitzing Marcus May on 3rd and like 15? He should be helping out screen and coverage. Some play calling like that didn't really make much sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, and it sucks because you have a guy like Dexter McDougle that's on the roster for those kind of situations. I mean, I get it. Terrence Brooks won Defensive Player of the Week a couple of weeks ago against the Dolphins. But, like, adding a third safety when you have guys like Adams and May and then getting rid of McDougle, who had a very good camp and a very good preseason for the Jets, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I get, like, it's fun to have that kind of guy as a third safety. He played well against Miami the first time. But when cornerback is a liability, we didn't know what Morris Claiborne was going to be to start the season. We knew what screen was going to be. Dale Roberts has certainly been playing very well. Justin Burris can't see the field right now. So having another cornerback on the roster that you can plug and play if screen or if Roberts is not playing well or Burris, at the beginning of the year wasn't playing well, that helps a lot. And to not have that and then have screen in the fourth quarter, give up touchdowns to lose you the game, it stings. And on the offensive side, it was good to see the Jets use Matt Forte in the 3rd down back like they have been. Let's just leave him at that. I don't need to see him on 1st and 2nd down. Bilal Powell was running very well for a majority of the game until the fourth quarter happened. Forte had the long 3rd down conversion, which was just
that was an exceptional run.
Piss poor tackling by Miami as well because they were just trying to strip the ball. But that's why you put him in there. You put him in on 3rd down. He's a good pass catcher, and you leave it at that. I mean, he's aging now. He's not going to be able to get the carries that he has been and that he had with the Bears. I mean, you keep Powell in there. When Powell can't run on 1st or 2nd down, you put McGuire in, and then you leave. And then you could even run Powell and Forte in on 3rd down. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me why they don't do these things.
I think Forte has looked very good since he's come back from the injury the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It was a toe injury, I think. So maybe that was actually hampering him. I wouldn't doubt it. Has an extra burst to him, but no way should he be getting 1st and 2nd down snaps. Fine as a 3rd down pass catcher. He's been a great pass catcher his entire career. But Bilal Powell, if you want to limit him, because he will get hurt. As much as we say give Bilal Powell the ball, he's proven that he can't be a lead back for an organization. But give him the ball a lot of times at 1st and 2nd down. When he's tired, like you said, throw out McGuire in there. We have one young capable back. Powell doesn't have, even though he's 29, doesn't have the mileage on him.
No,
that you would think from a 29-year-old because he's never been a lead back.
And he's never been 2 guys.
Yeah, exactly. So you have those. Put them out there at 1st and 2nd down. Forte's fine as a 3rd down back. I think Josh McCown played a very good game, of course, outside of the last play. The last play completely spoiled the entire game for him, but I think he played very well. I saw a thing like on the last play that when he threw the ball, like he tried to hold his arm back because he realized it was such a terrible decision. He saw the guy late, and which is why there was like nothing on the pass. He meant to like bowl it in there, but it was nothing on it. So he didn't mean to do it. He was very upset about that. And I think McCown is shut down in the fourth quarter basically every game this year so far, as is the whole team. And that's something we need to fix.
It's not an encouraging sign because I mean, I don't know if you knew this or not, football is a 4-quarter game.
Okay.
Not a 3-quarter.
No idea.
Okay. Some might believe it is actually
not like hockey. It's
correct. It is actually a 4-quarter game, not
all right.
Period.
Somebody should alert the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, I might send him a letter. We could both send him like a tandem letter, a strongly worded letter that the game.
Send him the podcast. That would work.
That's true. In fact, a 4-quarter game and not a 3-quarter game. Yeah. But it's not encouraging to see a team this young, play phenomenally for 3 quarters or a half, and then just after the break, it just shuts down. Like it was nice to see that coming out of halftime and Sunday's game that we didn't get a Patriots thing where it's just like, oh, well, here we go again. They're just going to shut down for the rest of the half. It was encouraging to see the third quarter, like things were going well for them. And then obviously the fourth happens. What were your biggest takeaways, either side of the ball from Sunday?
Well, the pass rush finally came alive. I know they shut down in the fourth quarter, but it was great seeing Wilkerson had his best game in like 2 years with us. He finally came alive. Leonard Williams played very, very well in that game. I think the pass rush was a big reason that we were able to have success early in the game. Once again, we shut down Ajayi. I don't know what it is. Teams can usually run on us, except if it's Jay Ajayi. I don't know why the Dolphins can't run on us, which is why I'm scared about Atlanta next week, but we'll get there. I'm jumping ahead. We'll get to that, Devontae Freeman. But, yeah, I think we shut down Ajayi. And if you would have told me going into that game that we would have had a pass rush, that McCown would have thrown 3 touchdowns, and we would have stopped Ajayi, I would have been very surprised that we lost the game.
Yeah.
But it just – you don't see it on the stat sheet, but, again, it's the penalties. It's stupid mistakes. And I don't think we were mentally prepared for what happened in that fourth quarter. I think we went into that – I don't think we went into cocky the fourth quarter, but I think we were like, wow, we're a good team. We bounced back, and we didn't put the game away.
It seemed like in the fourth they were playing not to lose.
Yep.
And they were playing to win the game.
That's the play calling right there. I think I've credited John Morton a lot. I think he's done a lot of great things this year, but they got really conservative in the fourth quarter. We were attacking them in the air a lot of the game. Or was it not Xavier Howard? It was Cordrea Tankersley was getting toasted by whoever was on him, whether it was Anderson or Curse. And we just stopped throwing his way. We stopped throwing. And I don't know why we did that.
The first half play calling was phenomenal. I mean, they opened up the game with the fake screen and then the screen to Powell, which was a tremendous play call to open up a game like that. And, they were running those kind of plays throughout the first half, even 3 quarters, and they were getting lots of yards. And then for some reason, for all the credit that John Morton has gotten this entire year, he is still yet to put together a complete game, which, as we alluded to, this game is a 4-quarter game and not a 3-quarter game. And until I see that he can put together 4 quarters worth of good play calling, I'm not ready to tout him as this, savior of the Jets offense like some people have. I mean, the past offensive coordinators have sucked. I don't think I'm going out on a limb when I say that. And Morton has obviously shown improvement from those guys. But when you can only do it for half the game or 3 quarters of the game, that doesn't do anything for your team. It does absolutely nothing. In fact, it might hurt you more than it'll help you.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely some of the blame has to go on Morton for that. Like, he's come out of the gate, surprised opponents, like you said, the fake screenplay. That surprised, I'm sure, everybody. That was the one to Tomlinson, right? Derek Tomlinson?
No, it was the one to Powell.
Oh, which one was that? It's Thursday. I'm already forgetting.
The very first play of the game.
All right. Already over my head. I was thinking the one to Tomlinson. Remember they threw was it a screen to Tomlinson or something? It was a dump off pass to him. Nobody covered him because anytime he's in the game, you think it's a run play. But stuff like that, stuff like the Powell play, I'm sure I forget, surprises opponents. And that's really good. Like, it's always good to have that element of surprise, but that wears off after a while. Eventually, teams are going to read you. And if you can't put together a full 4-quarter game, again, some of that goes on Morton. Some of it, I think, is just on the players. Josh McCown has played very well for most games this year, but shuts down in the fourth quarter. Whether it's nerves or whatever it is. I think that last play was nerves. I think the Dolphins had come back. We were very nervous. We had the ball. We had a chance to win it. And I've seen people questioning that decision. You got to go for it there. That was the correct call. You had 3 timeouts with like 50 seconds to go. You got to go for it. But McCown, clearly the nerves got to him. And that's what happened. I don't think it's Morton's fault in that case. But yeah, definitely some of the play calling is questionable.
Yeah, and like we talked about, the penalties are huge. I mean,
yes,
you can't win games, even if you're winning, whether you're winning or you're losing in the fourth quarter. You can't have those killer penalties because those are drive changers. I mean, it's the difference between getting off the field on 3rd and 12 and having the drive extended and go for a touchdown because of a stupid pass interference or a stupid late hit or a holding penalty in the secondary. And like, even on offense, like you just gotta keep the rhythm going. You can't give up these stupid false starts. You can't keep going with the holding penalties. You just have to play sound football. I'm not asking you to be world beater. We're not asking the Jets to be world beaters. We're asking you to make sound football plays, because once you clean up the penalties, it's a lot easier to win games when you're not, constantly moving backwards and having to go into 1st and 20s and 2nd and 12s. Like it's a lot easier. I'm not an expert, but I'm just going to say it's a lot easier.
Yeah, I think a lot of Like, we're talking about the penalties on the defensive side. The offensive side has had plenty of penalties too, especially that offensive line. The O-line has not played that well this year. And there have been questions going into the year with Wesley Johnson, Brandon Shell. Neither of them had much starting experience going into the year. And we had Kelvin Beachum, who used to be a pretty good tackle, and injuries happened, and his play was a little worse. He was a big question mark. I think he's actually been our best offensive lineman. Kelvin Beachum has played well. The guards have not played as well as I thought they would. Brian Winters especially has not had a good year. I think he's had 5 penalties, which is second most on the team.
Not great.
That's not good, especially since we just gave him a decent contract in the offseason. Mm-hmm. He hasn't played that well. James Carpenter, I think, has taken a step back from last year. Wesley Johnson has not looked that good. I think the O-line, that's been a part of the reason that we just can't run the ball. Again, I think I said this last week. You can't run through brick walls.
Right.
Like, if the O-line is getting pushed back 2 yards, you're not going to run through that. I think we did a better job last week, but still struggled. And I think against a team like Atlanta, we might struggle against them, especially defending like Vic Beasley around the edge. He's gonna be lined up against. If Shell's playing, he'll be lined up against Shell. That doesn't sound good. If it's not Shell, it's gonna be Brent Qualley, who that scares me maybe even more. They're capable. That's about it. I think that's the best word to describe them is capable, but not good.
So let's get into this Atlanta game.
Good segue.
I think this is going to be a bloodbath.
Really?
Because Atlanta's coming off of 3 straight losses, which they have not looked good at all. My dad told me this week, he said, if I were still a gambling man, I would pick he said, if I were a gambling man, I would say the Jets are exactly what Atlanta needed.
Quote Mr. Armstrong.
And I feel the exact same way, because the way that the Jets lost these past 2 weeks, if they would have just lost, it would be completely different. I would be looking at this game totally differently. But to be up 14-0 against the Patriots and lose, and even with the Safarian Jenkins call, like that's an emotional time. Being up 14 on the road against a division rival and losing in the final minutes, that's debilitating. Going up against an Atlanta team that is struggling on offense, Sarkisian is getting a lot of the blame, which he much deserves. I think this is the game where the Jets kind of I don't want to say lay down, but this is definitely a game where shit might hit the fan, and it might hit it early.
Now who's sounding pessimistic? I'm criticized for being pessimistic. You sound pretty pessimistic now.
This is I honestly I think just like Bozos had this team ready to go for the entire year. There hasn't been one game where they haven't been in the game, and
Yeah, the Oakland game was but
I mean, if the Khalif Raymond or whatever his name is doesn't drop,
yeah,
I don't think they win, but the game is closer than the score.
Right. The first half was pretty close.
Yeah, and I just think they might be ready to play, but I just think this is a kitchen sink game for Atlanta, and I just looking at the matchups, like who's going to guard Julio Jones? I mean, I get Morris Claiborne, but Julio Jones is far and away the best receiver the Jets have played all year.
This is the most high-powered offense. I mean, despite their struggles this year, again, you said Sarkisian has gotten a lot of blame, and very, very might be rightfully so, because Matt Ryan hasn't looked like himself. Freeman has been fine, but Julio, I think he just got his first touchdown last game.
Yeah,
no one would have predicted that. That's ridiculous. But it's still a really high-powered offense. I think the defense is Atlanta's defense is the fastest defense we played so far. You got guys like Deion Jones, Keanu Neal, a lot of good young talent on that defense. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to make our West Coast offense struggle. I think we're really going to struggle on offense. There's a chance. I don't think we're going to roll over. I really don't think that. I think too highly of this team.
I don't think they're going to roll over. I just think that this is a game that Atlanta just asserts their dominance over a much an inferior opponent, and it gets ugly quick. I mean,
people thought that was going to happen with the Patriots. That did not happen.
Right. But, something about this game, it just doesn't – I mean, I said it last week. I thought the Jets were going to score 4 touchdowns, and you laughed at me.
I did. You're right. They did, and they lost. But
true. Very true. I did predict the win.
But they did score 4 touchdowns. You're right. They did. And they're surprising a lot of people this year, which is why I still think it's going to be a close game. I don't think we're going to be able to score as much as we did the previous weeks. I don't want to jump ahead to score predictions because we do that at the end. But I don't think we score 2 touchdowns this game. I really think I think there's a chance we do. I don't think we score 3. That's what I'll say. I don't think we score 3.
Okay.
I think this defense we're playing Atlanta's defense isn't the best defense out there, but it's really good matchup for who we have. They have guys to cover tight ends. Safarian Jenkins was, for the most part, shut down against Miami. He did have that touchdown, but didn't do as well because he had Rashad Jones on him. Now they're going to have either, like I said, like Keanu Neal or Deion Jones. One of them will probably be on him because they're both they're hybrid players who are very fast, who can cover tight ends. That's a bad matchup for us. I think the defense is too fast overall for us to get much going. I think Robbie Anderson is going to be completely nerfed this game. I don't think he's going to do much. No. If we're going to win the game on offense, we're going to need to run the ball. We're going to need to run the ball like we did against Jacksonville. Something along those lines. If we could do that, if we can get that kind of a presence, that goes a long way in giving us this win. But I think that's going to take a lot. And on defense, we're going to need to keep the pass rush up. We need to keep that up because Atlanta, if you give Ryan enough time, I know he hasn't looked amazing this year. He's still mad for the Ryan.
Jones, it's Sanu. I mean, it's like
exactly. And then I think Tevin Coleman. Even if we bottle up Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman's going to get a lot of looks in the pass game. There's so many weapons on an offense, so many, and it's going to be a really tough matchup.
And yeah, like you said, the Jets. The key to this game is keep the ball out of Matt Ryan's hands. I mean, you're going to have to establish a run game, and if it doesn't work on the first drive, you don't abandon it. Like that's been the biggest gripe I've had with the Jets over my lifetime of watching them is that if something doesn't work, they immediately go away from it. Like instantly. Except for the Rex teams that made the AFC Championship game when, the running game didn't work, they kept to it.
And but that happened.
But that defense was all world.
Yeah.
And like even after that defense, declined, the Jets still tried to run the ball and it didn't work. Which if it doesn't work for 2 quarters or 3 quarters, then you got to switch things up. But like Jets teams recently have, if it doesn't work in the first 5 minutes, it's like, oh well, it doesn't work, so we got to abandon it. And it's like you got to keep the ball out of Matt Ryan's hands. And how do you do that? Long drives. You're going to have to score touchdowns too. You're not going to be able to beat this Atlanta team on Sunday if you're, having 8-minute drives and ending with field goals because Atlanta in the blink of an eye can score 21 on you like it's nothing.
I agree. I mean, setting the scene, this is 2 teams who are coming off really bad stretches. Atlanta's lost 3 in a row to all AFC East teams. First of all, who the hell scheduled the Atlanta Falcons scheduled this year and scheduled all 4 AFC East teams in a row? That makes no sense. I've never seen something like that before. And they've lost to 3 of them. They have, I think I saw an article that said they have like an allergy to the AFC East. Hopefully that can continue, but they're really distraught over his losses. We've lost 2 heartbreaking games to division rivals. And, with one snap of the finger, we could have been 5-2 right now.
Right.
I think that's crazy. And I don't know if, it's hindsight's 2020, but we could have been 5-2 right now going into this game.
Yeah.
We're 3-4 instead, and we're hungry for another win to get back to winning. And this is 2 teams that are desperate for a victory, and I think it should be a really good game. I think the better team will win in the end.
And to me, that's the Falcons. I think it's the
Jet now.
This Jets team can be as hungry as they want to be. The talent discrepancy between these 2 teams is just like I can't not pick the Falcons. So let's do it. Let's give our score predictions. Long last week, I picked 28-17 Jets. I was almost right.
You got 28.
I was almost right.
Yeah.
What do you got for me this week?
I mean, I got to say Falcons.
Yep.
I got to say Falcons. I don't think that's a surprise, especially if you listened to the last 3 minutes I was talking. I'm going to say Falcons. I'm going to say final score. I don't think the offense, Atlanta's offense, does as much as I'm going to say 21-13. I don't think we scored 2 touchdowns. I think it's 1 touchdown game. And I see our defense limiting their offense, but I don't see our offense putting up enough points against their D to compete.
I'm going to pick the Falcons, and I'm going to pick them 34-17.
34-17. Okay, so they're putting up more points. Is that the first time we've agreed on who was going to win a game?
I believe so, yes.
So does that mean you've picked the Jets every time I pick the opposing team? Because I don't think I picked the Jets yet.
I am 7-0 against the spread picking against the Jets games this year.
All right. Not going to argue with that.
Yeah, pipe down over there.
Okay. Hey, I was right last week. So,
1-0
in the last week.
1-0
in the last week.
They just did cover though. It was 3.5.
They did cover the spread. Yeah, I don't do spreads. Spreads are weak. I like them.
Spreads are weak.
Spreads are weak. Quote me on that. Please quote me on that.
I mean, if you're into spreads, if you don't think they're weak, Atlanta's favored by 4.5 this week, which I think is low.
I don't think we covered the spread. I think that is low. I think that's credit to the Jets.
Yeah.
That people are finally giving us the credit.
And they're probably going to get blown out this week. So.
Yeah. Every time somebody starts oh, maybe the Jets are for real. Here's credit to the Jets. Now then, and just oh, wait, well, we might actually be good now. Now we got to – they're always trying to prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah, who was on PCP when they started believing in the Jets there? Who in Vegas was on that?
I don't know, man. Vegas is a weird place.
Yeah, well,
they're getting ready for the Raiders.
They always win. So.
That's true.
All right, well, that's it for this week. Maybe we'll be in better spirits next week.
Hopefully.
Jets win.
Optimism.
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to happen this week.
The roles are reversed from last week. You were all I was like,
yeah, that's
switched.
Such a debilitating loss last week that I just can't. I can't physically and emotionally bring myself to pick the Jets this week.
I was watching with 2 Dolphins fans too. No Jets fans. That was
no thanks.
That was real bad. It was real bad.
I want to say some words, but I'm not going to say them because.
Oh, I already said them. Don't worry. I said them to them, and I said it about Buster Screen.
Oh. Yeah, I had many choice words after the game last week. All right, we'll be back next week on Thursday talking about potentially a Jets blowout, potentially a very
Jets win. We're going to talk about a Jets win.
Oh, God. You just think the shit out of us now. Now when it's not even close.
Damn it.
All right, we'll be back.
All right, blowout.
Peace out, everybody.